Hi, we're back in Lightroom. This is actually not the Lightroom catalog that I'm normally working from. This is my catalog that I use on my computer at home. It's called SLB Working Catalog 2.2. And the reason I'm working in this one is to show you the way that I organize my catalog at home. This is actually quite an extensive catalog. Not only does it have about 17,000 photos from my that are on my Macintosh, my computer itself, and I'll talk about that organization. It also actually has a catalog. It contains the references to photos on one, two, three, four external drives, one of which right now is plugged in, big three. The other three are actually offline, which is why they're grayed out. So you can see that there's not really any upper limit of how much can be in a catalog because the catalog is referring to photos. It doesn't have the photos themselves. Now, it does mean when you get a catalog this size, it's a more complex file. It's a slightly bigger file. It takes a little bit longer to load and unload. But I like having one catalog where I can access everything pretty fluidly. I don't have to remember to go to a different catalog to look at different files. Now, I do have catalogs that live on other hard drives, and that's really important. You might actually have the same thing. Remember that once you place a catalog, it should stay in the same place in order to avoid confusion. Okay, well, let me just show you around the way I have things organized here. Most of the files that I have imported into Lightroom from my hard drive are in the pictures folder. And I know that I told you not to put anything in the pictures folder on the computers at school, and that is still true because once they go in there, they will be deleted, or you may not be able to find them, or you may be working on another computer. That is true. But on your own computer at home, the pictures folder is a perfect place to put all of your photos. So these are things that live relatively permanently on my hard drive. These are things I'm actively working on. Any new photos that I take, I import here. Most of them are in a folder called Art Photos. And this right now is organized into some general categories: architecture, birds, demos, landscape, and miscellaneous new. So within each of these are organized either according to category. This was a folder that I created when I was teaching the architecture class to create some new slide presentations. And this one, which is a relatively large one, is my bird photos, which is the primary thing I do. You notice it actually is organized according to years, and it only has the last 3 years. And actually, if you look at 2018, it really only has the last half of 2018. And that's because as I need to, I move files off of my main computer and onto external drives in order to save space. Eventually, and probably fairly soon, I'm going to move the rest of 2018 to a storage drive, probably to 2 storage drives to make sure I have double copies of it. But for right now, it will live here. And then within these, you'd see that I organize them according to months. Now, it depends on the category, but most often when I have a large file of ongoing files, typical things that I'm working with, landscape, birds, etc., I'm going to organize them according to year and month. Otherwise, it gets cumbersome. You can see that I have quite a lot of photos in here, and it's just easier for me to go back to 2017 or into 2019, remember trips that I took and years that I took, and find them that way. Other ways to find them, more sophisticated ways, which I'll share with you later, but there's just an idea about how to organize things. I also want everything in a subfolder. So for instance, if I click here on the birds, let's actually pull this down, and I go up and I say, don't show the photos in subfolders. Oops, I do have a handful. There are only 3 of them that aren't actually organized there, and that's the way I like it. I would prefer that to be 0. I'll come back and take care of that later. Okay, now let's actually come out of this folder and take a look at, or come off of this drive. We'll just close it up there and take a look at this external drive called Big 3. Now it'll look a little bit different. I have it organized differently. Notice that these are all earlier. They're a little bit different, but they're mostly earlier years of birds. My not birds is a little more general. And then I also have a couple of these, what I call slush piles. These are pretty big. These are a bunch of folders that I need to reorganize. I need to move around. They're usually copies of other things. They're there for safekeeping. And so they're just in more generic files. I have actually the 4 main categories that I'm usually working in. And I might plug this in if I need to work with files that are in this actual drive. I did a letter, A, B, C, and D. And again, within those, I have them according to years. Okay. Now, I want to get down to talking about collections. So these are all folders. Everything on in Big 3, everything on Macintosh hard drive, and even everything on these grayed out areas, these refer to actual files that live on an external drive or an internal drive. And if I pulled the Lightroom window down and went to those drives, I would find these actual folders there. But there's another way to organize things. Let's say that I want to actually work with files from not just this external hard drive, but this external hard drive, and from several different years and different folders. Now that could be very frustrating if I wanted to make an entirely new folder and put it on a drive and make copies or move things and try to remember to move them back so I didn't lose track of them. All of that's very cumbersome. What if we could create just little references to those originals? That's what a collection is about. So folders is here. I'm going to just click that up. Collections is down here. And collections are virtual references to the original folders. So you see I already have a fair number of collections here. We're going to make a new one in a minute. I have these collections, which are collection sets. These are smart collections. I'll get into that later. I'll tell you a little bit about it today. And then these are just regular collections. So collection sets are like master folders and subfolders. They look like a little box. And if you click them open, you can see there's a bunch of other, either more little boxes inside or just regular folders. This is actually also related to the architecture class. And this is where I pre-organized all those images to get them ready for my other folders. So this is these are virtual, these are not real. These files refer to files that are living elsewhere, but I can go in and I can actually work with them the same way. This is birds. This is another area. Now, smart collections, I'll tell you the tiniest bit about them. Notice that you'll probably look in and find that you have some smart collections that are already there and that are already populated, and that might surprise you because you haven't done anything with them. These are predetermined. You can actually take them out and change them, but the software loads right away. So for instance, anything that has a color red coding is automatically going to show up in this collection. So anything I've ever put into this catalog and put a red frame around, it's going to be there. Anything that's a video file will automatically show up there. And anything from the past month, etc., etc. You can also make your own smart collections. It can be very cool, but if you start working with smart collections and not really knowing what they're about, it could get a little bit haywire. So let's stay away from them for now. Let's go back up to collections, and I'm just going to make a regular collection like one of these 3. All I have to do is go to the plus sign next to collections, create a collection, not a smart collection, not a collection set, and I'm going to call this Demo Photo 29, because that's what I'm going to use it for. I don't want it to be inside of smart collections. Make sure you unclick any of these boxes. And I'm not going to include any selected photos right now or set it as a target collection. I just want to make it right now. And it's going to show up right there. It's absolutely empty because I haven't put anything in. Now, the cool thing, let's go back to folders, about collections is that I can put images in from a bunch of different areas and different folders. Let's just start with, go into my landscape folder. I'm going to go into this 2020. I'm going to just grab 3 of these. So I'm going to demonstrate something very particular for those. And I'm going to throw those into my demo folder just by grabbing into the center of one and dragging over. And now you see those 3 are there. But I don't have to stop there. I can come into, I could go back or forward. I'll go back into birds from 2019. And I'll just grab a few of these. Now, one thing I want to point out as I'm doing this, I'm going to scroll down. I can just hold the command key down, just select whichever ones I want. You might notice that some of these have the red frames around them, others don't. They might have other colors of frames. Don't overly worry about this right now. I will show you in a future video how to create those different colors and make them work for you for organization. Now I can just scroll through and see if there's anything else I want in here. Now, if I want to grab a few that are all together, that's pretty easy. And I am grabbing these pretty randomly. I don't have any rhyme or reason right now, but you might. And then I'm going to close that up. I'm actually going to go out of the Macintosh hard drive, and I can actually go into this external drive. There's actually a particular folder I want to go into. I believe it's in November 2018. Yeah, there it is. That one. And oops, I've scrolled up, so I need to scroll down. So I can actually put that into demos. I'll grab a few more in here. I'll grab these 2, they're together. And again, I'm grabbing these somewhat randomly just to prove my point. How's that? And then I'll go ahead and grab something from Not Birds. Not from that one. Let's put in some sky, just for fun. And again, notice every time I do that, it adds up, and now I have 20 photos in my folder. Right now they're sorted by capture time, which is generally the way I keep them. That means that these are the oldest photos in here, and these are the newest from when I actually did them. Now, one of the cool things, remember that if you want to delete a file from any folder, let's just pretend, I'll go to this miscellaneous file and pretend like I want to delete this one. Okay, I just hit delete, and it immediately will come up with this message. It says, do you want to delete this from the disk? Do you want to cancel this action, or do you want to remove it? And the reason it's giving you this warning, which you cannot turn off, is because deleting something, whether or not you just remove it from the catalog or delete it altogether, is a big decision. And they want to make sure that you want to do this. We're not going to do it. I'm just showing you that to remind you that's what happens. Now watch what happens if I go down here and I decide that I want to delete this one. And I hit delete, and it gives me no warning, and it just deletes the photo. And that's because this is a virtual collection. This is not the actual original file. All it did was delete it out of the collection, but the original folder, the original file, the original image file is still living exactly where it did. Now, there's another point to this. I'm going to say this, and then we'll move on to the next video. And that is that this does not, the collections are virtual, and that means that they don't exist anywhere except basically in the mind of the catalog and for your benefit. If I go out of the catalog and I go into the Big 3 hard drive, there's nothing in there that's going to refer to this demo from Photo 29. It is nowhere. There's no collections anywhere. There's none on my hard drive. there's none anywhere. And that's because these only exist in Lightroom. All of these folders actually exist somewhere on the external hard drive or the Macintosh hard drive. But the collections only exist within Lightroom. Okay, in the next video, I'll show you how to develop your file and talk a little bit more about the advantages of working from a collection.